So great to be connecting with you today to update you on the June 2025 Private Company Council meeting. I'm 18 months into my first term as chair and continue to be appreciative of all the feedback our constituents have provided to us regarding our activities. And so more about our June meeting, which was on June 26th and 27th in person in Norwalk. We discussed 5 key areas as part of our agenda prioritization process. We discussed lease accounting simplifications, subjective acceleration clauses, the interest method and determining the effective interest rate, weighted average disclosures, and short cycle manufacturing. And so in each case, the FASB staff had prepared a briefing for us based on past actions by the FASB or the Private Company Council in each of these areas. And so we got a great historical perspective on how these things have been considered before. And so we spent time across our 2-day meeting discussing them. So we're going to continue to work on 3 of these areas, and we're going to discontinue research on 2 of them, as I'll talk more about in a second. So on lease accounting simplifications, as you recall, we created a working group a year or so ago in connection with the AICPA Technical Issues Committee to look at potential alternatives for private companies. We've continued to do outreach, and so many of you participated, and we thank you for helping us with that outreach over the last 12 months. In later this month of July, the working group is going to get back together and further discuss the feedback that we received in many of those sort of one-on-one with companies around the country. In addition, we also discussed the pervasiveness of subjective acceleration clauses in private company debt arrangements, the frequency with which lenders attempt to enforce the clauses, and the current accounting practices that arise from these, including the complexities for private companies versus public companies, and some of the solutions that we might come up with. We concluded that we should continue to research and study this matter as a current agenda priority. We also discussed the staff's research on the interest method and determining the effective interest rate. We had a fair amount of recent feedback conducted on the challenges of applying the interest method in Topic 835 interest and potential private company alternatives. We concluded that this issue should continue to be pursued as a current agenda priority, and we've asked the FASB staff to conduct additional research. We also discussed weighted average disclosures and recent outreach that we had conducted with private company financial statement users and practitioners on the usefulness, pervasiveness, and complexity of the weighted average disclosures widespread for private companies. And based on the feedback from stakeholders, we concluded that the cost of providing alternatives may outweigh the benefits, and therefore that this issue should not be included or continued to have research. And therefore, we're going to pursue nothing further at this time. In addition, we had also sought feedback around short cycle manufacturing, and we discussed the issues that were raised by our stakeholders on the cost and complexity of applying the overtime revenue recognition frameworks under Topic 606, revenue from contracts with customers. PCC members concluded that the issues are not sufficiently pervasive to private companies, and therefore there may not be a technically feasible solution. And therefore, we also instructed the FASB staff that we require no further research. As you know, one of the most important elements of our mission is to discuss ongoing FASB projects with the board. And in this meeting, we discussed accounting for and disclosure of software costs, accounting for government grants, accounting for paid-in-kind dividends on equity classified preferred stock, derivative scope requirements, and interim reporting. Again, our goal is to make sure we're providing timely feedback regarding matters that the FASB is considering. We continue to be focused on that. Our next meeting will be held in September. In addition, at that time, we'll also be holding our annual liaison meeting with the AICPA Technical Issues Committee.